Hey, it's business coach Steve Goranson with another business tip to help you work smarter, not harder, so you can live more life. Everyone knows that creating a plan is going to help you become more efficient and more effective. So if we know that having a plan is going to help us be more effective, then why do most small business owners not have a plan? You see, most of us, we have at least to have a to-do list, right? To make sure that we're going to get the most urgent tasks that we have to get done on that particular day. But unfortunately, the most important urgent tasks aren't necessarily the most important tasks. Then we're spending most of our time then just really putting out fires, then really rather than doing what's most important, that's going to be moving us towards reaching our goals. So what decides whether a task is important or not is our goals, right? If your goal is just to get through another day, doing the most urgent task on your to-do list will get you by. But if your goal is to create a successful business, a commercial, profitable enterprise that can work without you, yes, without you, then you have to have clarity of what that really looks like. See, the number one reason people don't plan is really they don't know where to begin. So when creating a plan, Stephen Covey says you have to start with the end in mind, because if you don't know where you're going, it's pretty hard to figure out how you're going to get there. So one of the problems with long-term planning is things change, life changes. It's really difficult to get your arms around what's going to be happening, what's going to be going on 5 to 10 years down the road. It's just, most of us can't think of what's going on that far, right? But what I found is that most people can get some clarity around what they need to do or what's going to happen maybe 2 to 3 years down the road. It might be pushing it. We have to think a little bit harder. But 2 or 3 years down the road, we can begin to get some clarity, and even better clarity of what's going to be happening over the next 90 or even 30 days. So creating a plan, really think about it this way. It's like creating the story of your future, your success future. And everyone likes a good story with a happy ending, don't they, right? So what we need to do is write our own success story, right? Our own story of our success. So it's not going to be our whole life story, at least maybe not in the beginning. It's just what we want to accomplish over the next 2 to maybe 3 years. So here's a simple 4-step process anyone can use to write your success story of where you want to be in the next couple of years down the road. So here we go. So the first step is start with the end in mind. We need to start by beginning to write a 100 to maybe at the most 300-word executive summary of where we see our business going over the next 2 to 3 years. So the more detail you have here, it's going to help you develop better clarity of how you're going to get there. Don't just think about how much revenue and profits you want to go. Those are really important, but how many team members do you want? What are going to be their roles? What does your office look like? How does your best customer find you, right? And what's your specific role and function in the business now? So the next step is, once we have the end in mind, we need to start creating our chapter headings. Once we know how our story is going to end, we're going to now break it down, our journey into 2 or 3 year journey right now, into 8 to 12 chapters, or think of them as really calendar quarters, right? Here, this is where you're going to write a chapter heading that will help you summarize your focus that's going on for each chapter, each quarter. Maybe this is the theme of what's supposed to be happening. So that's the second step. The third step is start writing executive summaries for those chapter headings. Now that we know the theme and the focus for each chapter, you're going to need to write just a 100-word executive summary of what needs to be accomplished in your first 4 chapters or quarters. If you really think about it, this is now your annual plan. And then this leads us to the final step, is the chapter details. For the first chapter or quarter, create a detailed plan of how you're going to accomplish these goals set up, or this vision, this story that you created in your executive summary. And at the end of the first month, you're now going to create a new detailed plan for the next chapter executive summary and create a new executive summary for the fourth chapter, because remember, we only did the executive summaries for the first three chapters. So in the end of every month, you're going to be creating a new detailed plan for the next month and the next executive summary for the next chapter. So this way, you'll always have executive summaries for the next 3 chapters. And at the end of the first year, then create a new ending, a new 2-year ending of where you're going to be over the next 2 years, and start revising your chapter headings to help you get there. So this process is going to help you create a roadmap for your success, helping you to understand your destination and each milestone, and helping you to get there, and specifically what you need to do to get to each milestone. So begin today by writing your success story. Don't worry if you have to rewrite your chapter headings and executive summaries down the road, because once you begin your plan and you start getting more clarity, you're now in a better position to write better chapter headings and executive summaries. It's as simple as that. So if this resonates with you and you want to learn more about how you can write your story or your plan, schedule a free strategy session with me. I'm business coach Steve Goranson, helping real people get real results by teaching you how to work smarter, not harder, and live more life.